We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Hello, Mavs fans. Welcome back. This is a playoff edition of Mavs Party. I am Kirk Henderson, editor-in-chief over at MavsMoneyball.com. This is another episode of Pod Maverick. Thanks so much for hanging out and talking basketball with Josh and I in our previous show. Those of you who are still hanging out in here would really love to talk ball with you. I just posted a StreamYard link to the YouTube app channel and pinned it. You can click on that and we will hang out here and talk basketball till everybody is all out of takes. We already got a few folks waiting, so I'm going to stop rambling and I want to hear what you guys have to say. Coming up first is David. David, welcome to the show. What's up, man?
Hey, Kirk. I'm just grabbing my my late night dinner after leaving Game 6.
Oh, you were there. Fantastic. Yeah. Where were you sitting?
Section 102. Me and my friend that did the season ticket package. Thanks to price hikes, this will be our last year likely. So we're hoping for a championship, going all the way.
102. So you had a great look at all sorts of elements of this game. That's fantastic.
Yeah, no, I'm good. Yeah, dude, it was that Gafford dunk from the far side was beastly. Watching him just absolutely own Zubac under the rim like that. We sat next to two guys that hit a quadruple parlay that also lost it, and then it got us on Bally's because I thought they were going to flip me over. This one guy was like rock solid, but that place was like insane. Yeah, they had a parlay. I just have to explain this on PJ Washington needing 10 points. Paul George needed 5 rebounds, and Kyrie needed 25 or more points. So they were losing their shit up until about, halfway through the third quarter when Kyrie came to life.
Sure.
And then it was just Mavs party. And then they needed the Mavs win, of course, to seal the deal. So I have no idea how much money. I didn't even want to ask, but their minds were exploding. So it was a party. I can't wait for the next round. And God, it feels good to get a win. But I wanted to comment on something you and Josh were talking about. Luka at the warm-ups could not hit a 3.
Well, that carried over.
Yeah, in coming out of halftime, though, I did see him splash one through, and the next one was the one that he took over Harden. That wasn't a step back. So he's got to find a way to get his legs under him. I really think this knee is just between that and it's just now in his head. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's my take, is that it's a little bit mental because the shots don't look too bad. In game 3 and 4, they actually didn't look good. And now I think they look okay. They're just not going down. So he's going to figure something out. It's a matter of when. The Mavericks need him to hit threes. The Clippers are such an odd team. I think they could get away with it, but against Oklahoma, I think he's going to have to hit.
Oh, I fully agree. I think we are going to need that weapon. Otherwise, we are going to be it's going to be tough, especially when he's got Lou Dort, beating the crap out of him like a bigger Terrence Mann. So, yeah, the one thing that I was thinking about though on my drive home while I was listening to you guys was, the rest of the West got lucky with us this season. Like, really, they did, because the injuries at the beginning of the year really hid some of our better defensive players that were starting to round into shape, like obviously Lively being a rookie and DJJ finding his groove. And then ever since the trade and PJ and Gafford and obviously the rules have changed in our favor a bit, like it's all just come together to showcase that we are now a top 5 defensive team in this league. Coupled with our scoring, it's absolutely wild. And I think honestly, I think they're lucky that we're only a 5th seed this season. Like they got really, really lucky that we don't have home court and aren't a top 3 team right now.
Yeah, the lack of home court, it really makes. I understand why the Mavericks didn't go for it, but it almost makes you wonder if they would have pushed and hadn't gotten lucky in those last 2 games, if this would have been like a 4-game sweep.
Oh my God! You could just imagine if we had not had the Max Strus shot from hell, we probably would have home court. It bothers me to this day, but yeah, the just the thought that like this team is really like way underrated, way underestimated. I hope the national media is really paying attention besides Tim Legler. Because they are absolutely for real. So anyone thinking that a single star young team like the OKC is going to take us out easily, it is going to be a battle.
I'm looking forward to it.
I can't wait.
It's so not to get too, and actually, you know what? Fuck it. This is a Weeds podcast. So I am right around, after trade deadline stuff, when it became very clear that the league was being called differently. My friend Ethan Sherwood Strauss put out this sourced piece where he spoke with an NBA GM that was basically losing it about the rule changes and how that might affect his team's chances in the playoffs. And I don't know this, so I'm not saying this for sure, but you read that and it just reads like Sam Presti whining, because Sam Presti and the Thunder they didn't do anything at the deadline, and they had an opportunity to get Gafford and they didn't. And so now you're sort of like looking at this in the face and wondering, okay, the Thunder are really talented, really, they have a lot of depth, but do they have kind of the Mavericks have some like brute force players that the Thunder cannot match, in my opinion.
I fully agree. I have no idea what Chet Holmgren is gonna have some bruised ribs in about a week.
It's so awesome. Chet's not it's like what do you do when Chet has to sit? That's kind of what it comes back to for me. Who's their backup? Like our backup is Derek Lively. Like That's just a completely different world.
Yeah, so. Yeah. I was thinking about that. I don't know who they're after that. It's kind of like the Clippers. They don't have anyone after their star center. Mm-hmm. So. Yep. I think we're going to bully them on the boards again. And really, it's just if we play we have not yet seen this team play our best basketball, right?
Oh, not at all. I mean, Kyrie was by far the best player in that series, but, the team as a whole has yet to really click. So, You there?
Yep, there we go. Sorry.
That's all right.
Network hiccup. Yep. I was just going to say am I losing? Am I that guy?
No, you're here. We can hear you. You're fine.
Am I that guy, Kirk?
No.
Okay, there we go. Okay. It like zoomed in and out for a second. Last thought, and then I'll let other people come in and celebrate, is on the note of like best basketball is, I was buoyed after game 4 because I've been at every home game so far, that the Clippers gave us their best basketball. They gave us everything they could, and they still barely beat us at the end of that game. So I'm psyched. I'm here for it. Like we took their best shot, and that must have actually been deflating at the end. Like I'm sure they felt a little bit good, but it's like we had to shoot 60% from 3 just to eke out a win against the Mavericks. Like you got to like that's when you realize the monster's like invincible. Like you're screwed. You can't do that every game. So yeah, I'm just excited that this team, like all of its flaws, all of its imperfections on the shooting, and we're still a dominant force. Mavs in 6 over the Thunder. Here we go.
Love it. Talk soon, David. Thanks for hanging out.
Thanks, Kirk.
Okay, coming up next is Krishna. Krishna, man, what's up? Wonder if Krishna knows. There he is. Yeah, what's going on?
I'm good. Can you hear the fans in the background?
No, it's all right.
Okay, if you need to, I can stop them.
You sound good.
This is awesome, Kirk. It's kind of weird. I know, like there was mention, like it feels anticlimactic. I don't know. I've watched that Pistons Bad Boys documentary all those years ago, and obviously The Last Dance, but it does kind of feel like that moment, right? Where maybe it's not like necessarily the same kind of demon, but it is frustrating. You lose to the same team twice in a row, especially more than the bubble year, because I think obviously KP being injured sucked. That second season, that second series in 21 especially sucked, especially, God, I'm saying especially so much.
Sorry.
You're up 2-0 and you lose 2 games at home, and then game 6 is a Kawhi robotic performance, and then they collapse the rest of that playoff run. Kawhi gets injured. Like, you played them at their healthiest in both of those series, and so obviously it sucks that they weren't healthy, but Luka clearly wasn't healthy at all this series, and it's kind of, this has been roster construction that I think you and Josh and so many Mavs fans have just asked for. It's sad that we asked for competent roster construction, but it's so long.
Let's overanalyze this for a bit. I think the concept of playing Luka with great shooters over athleticism makes a hell of a lot of sense, right up until you run up against great athleticism. And that was really one of the Mavericks' chief problems, was they kept getting the crap kicked out of them by much more athletic teams. And now we're on the other side of it, where the Mavericks were the significantly more athletic team. And I still think that, maybe their shooting might bite them in the ass. Like, there's just the Mavericks have some touch and go shooters. There's just no other way around that. But the fact that they seem to be able to get into the paint and get to the rim a lot makes up for a lot of that. And in our older Mavericks teams, where we're watching teams that had some good shooting, Reggie Bullock was amazing in 2022. Same with Dorian Finney-Smith. It's very different. And I still can't believe we're winning this way, but it works.
No, I agree. And I think a lot of it is luck, right? Like, last year was luck in the sense that, you are out of the play-in, but it's kind of luck that you lost some of those games. And obviously the team was also bad, but you got lucky again. You stayed at the 10th spot. You got lucky again. OKC wants to trade with you. You got lucky again. Like, you had so many things that did have to go your way, but you still have to make the right decisions in those moments. And like you had talked about with that podcast earlier this week, we had the other the other optimal roster that we constructed around Luka, which is an all shooting roster.
Yep.
But there was a clear limitation with that team. And it was that, one, it's hard to have a real 5-out offense. There are a few centers who can actually shoot the 3, at an elite level. And there was a clear limit to that team. And it was that you weren't big enough and you weren't physical enough and you weren't good enough on defense, that you're shooting, which is always going to be inconsistent. Like, we talked about it at Game 5, that this Clippers team only won because, one, they had 2 historic shooting games, 60% and then 50% from 3 in games 1 and 4.
Right.
Plus, the Mavs had 2 historically bad offensive quarters in those games. Just one bad offensive quarter, historically bad, no excuses, but they were bad. And you lost those games. But the thing that's been consistent and also has gotten better in this, shockingly, is the defense.
Yep.
The defense has held up strong. And, you talked about it with Josh. This team is completely constructed different. And, you've talked about it again. It's that you're athletic and you just play defense. You have a baseline level of defense and you trust in Luka and Kyrie to make the right decisions on offense. Now, are they doing that the entire series? I would argue there have been moments where I've said Luka is not making great decisions, but you've constructed a roster where it feels like bad decisions aren't going to kill you all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something we never would have said. Forget last year. We wouldn't have said that in 22. We saw that in 22 when Luka was playing out of his mind that entire run, but you can't outrun your deficiencies.
No, that's the whole point. It gets harder and harder. And I've talked with enough smart basketball people that don't have a stake in the Mavericks to say that there's people that earnestly believe this Mavericks team could make the finals. I mean, I think playing the Celtics is a whole nother thing, and I don't even really want to think about it right now, but it's like making the finals. If that is the thing that you think the Mavericks can do, I'll just say that there's enough smart people in my life that believe it is really within the realm of possibility, and it's not one of those things to scoff at.
No, I agree. And I think part of it is just that, so many people have mentioned, Tim Legler especially, and, obviously you guys and everyone who's covered the Mavs very closely. It's the defense, Kirk. Like, we just haven't seen this team play defense like this. Like, I wasn't really old enough to understand the 2011 run, but that team was so different in some ways because Tyson was such a difference maker to put beside Dirk. And obviously Tyson wasn't there 48 minutes a game, but, he had such an impact that, the next year he went and won DPOY for a reason. Yeah. He was a great player.
Absolutely.
And, I don't think, I tweeted this out after game 5. I don't think Lively is there yet, but Lively has fundamentally changed the construction of this team.
Oh, yeah.
In a way, the trade deadline, I don't think happens if Lively isn't as good as he was this year.
I agree. I agree with you, man.
I think they double down and they say, hey, look, we're good enough. We're already a semi-good team with one good center. Let's go get another one so that he's not affected. And all credit to him. I mean, 20 years old, he's not even old enough to drink. I think it's funny to think
right. Well, in the sideline, getting everybody pumped up. He is rising to the moment, and I love that. Just love it.
Yeah. And, I think there was obviously people who have doubted how good he would be, and I don't think it's unreasonable to believe that, but there's something to the intangibles, and obviously it's always hard to understand, it's called intangibles for a reason. They're not, there's no definitive thing. It's not a shooting percentage. And so I think that's what's propelled him to be better. And I think there are even guys lower down on this roster. Obviously Omax is out and, you see him develop next season. I think, listening to DJJ's story, he was undrafted. He's gone around a couple places. I look at, I don't think AJ Lawson will be him, but AJ Lawson could be the thing that's exciting about this team is, even if it, ends next season next round, I should say,
right.
You have a future. And that was something I don't think we had felt in such a long time, is that you can keep going, keep building, but you still have this season, and it's awesome that it's continued to go. And man, it's just awesome. It's just so much fun. It's exciting to see a team that's good, especially after last season. That was
that's
so
right.
Good. Man, I'm just happy, and I hope everyone else is happy and they have a great night.
All right, man. Talk soon. All right.
Absolutely. Take care, Kirk.
All right. Coming up next is somebody with a name I don't recognize, but a really fantastic screen name. Mr. August Records. What's going on? Unmute yourself and let us hear your takes. See if I can unmute him. Nope. Can't unmute my guest because they chose to mute themselves. All right. Well, maybe he didn't mean to sign in here. We'll give him a second. I'm going to punt him for now, but if you want to actually come back and talk basketball, please do so. Matt, you're coming up next. Matt, what's going on?
How you doing, Kirk?
I am dragging ass, but I am powering through because this is what we do this for. The playoffs are fucking great.
Oh, well, first off, thank you for convincing me to go to the game. I'm in the Dallas airport.
You went!
Right now.
Yes! It's fantastic.
I'm in the Dallas airport by myself. Me and the only people in here. So.
That's fantastic.
But yeah, it was awesome. And I wanted to say the first person that was exactly right. We and my sister got there. Luka did not hit a 3-pointer for 25 minutes. He could not make anything. And I'm like, we're in trouble. But just 2 observations real quick from being at the game. Right now, since Luka's knee is hurting so bad, I know he struggled the second half, but man, how he started that game, he totally took control. I just think with that knee right now, he can only do that for a half. And I think we got to try to get Kyrie involved. But do you almost see this as a plan? They're just going to we're going to let Luka attack right now while his knees, and then we're just going to go to Kyrie when we know at the end. You get what I'm trying to say? Because
yeah, but I sort of think that no one on planet Earth believes Luka's actually hurt.
Okay.
That's really, and so I think at a certain point you're just chancing fate.
I didn't either until this game. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's fine.
I didn't until at this game, and then you're the difference between the first quarter and the first half and second half. You're yeah, he could not move to save his life. But That's what I've just.
He sells it though. Somebody in Mavs Moneyball Slack said he was running like John Wayne walks, and it's like, man, if you're that bad, get off the fucking floor, like run back or don't. It's so difficult with him.
And then sorry to interrupt. Then he won the one play in the fourth quarter. I don't know if they showed it on TV. Him and Russ were chirping like really bad at the end of the bench, the one time he was walking like he couldn't even walk, and then he's walking over sprinting over to Westbrook to talk. I'm like, come on, Luka, what the hell?
He'd be a great professional wrestler. That's my.
Oh
takeaway.
My God, yes. So that was just one observation. Two, and this is going to OKC. I do think they're the better team, but one thing I think our defense is going to do really well with is. I think what we struggled a little bit with Zubac because once he got in the post, we couldn't really stop him. Gafford and Lively, it's shockingly because they overpowered him. If Chet's threes aren't falling and Giddey's threes aren't falling, they have two. I love Chet, but Lively gave him problems. That's almost two non-scorers. I think Luka's gonna. I don't know. I think this is gonna be a really good series. I like OKC's talent, but. I don't know. I think that's really good. I think Giddey is really going to be that key to next round. And like you said, as soon as you take out Chet, who's that backup compared to Lively and Gafford? You saw that one game we blew them out by 30 points. I know it's a regular season and it's 3 months ago, but that was still eye-opening. But
yeah. I'm really glad you went. That's fantastic.
It was awesome. Yeah, first game in American Airlines. I got to go back. I'm from the Baltimore area, so it's good to see playoff basketball instead of having to deal with the Wizards all the time. So
that's great, man.
Thank you, Kurt. Have a good night.
You too.
If you're a basketball junkie, then you know there's no better time of year than the NBA playoffs. Twice a week, JJ Redick is cooking on his podcast, The Old Man and the Three. He has guys come on in all stages of their careers to talk about the league and share stories you won't hear anywhere else, including Devin Booker on why he talks so much trash, Ray Allen's epic free throw competitions with LeBron in Miami, and the moment Tyrese Halliburton knew Pascal Siakam would be a good fit in Indy. In addition to player interviews, every Monday JJ breaks down the top 3 things happening around the NBA with unmatched analysis, not outlandish takes, and is often joined by masterminds of the game like Tim Legler to dive deep on rookie reports, trade breakdowns, and why is mean mugging now a tech? You won't find another outlet that covers the game as comprehensively and with such insight as JJ does it on The Old Man and the Three. Make this your companion podcast during the playoffs. Listen to The Old Man and the Three ad-free on Wondery Plus or wherever you get your podcasts.
We're driven by the search for better. But when it comes to hiring, the best way to search for a candidate isn't to search at all. Don't search, match with Indeed. Indeed is your matching and hiring platform with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. Ditch the busy work. Use Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates faster. Leveraging over 140 million qualifications and preferences every day, Indeed's matching engine is constantly learning from your preferences, so the more you use Indeed, the better it gets. Join more than 3.5 million businesses worldwide that use Indeed to hire great talent fast. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Just go to Indeed.com/Blue Wire right now and support our show by saying that you heard about Indeed on this podcast. That's Indeed.com/Blue Wire. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
Man, that's crazy. I can't believe I actually talked somebody into going to a basketball game. That sort of stuff's wild. All right, we got 7 people waiting, so we're going to try to fly through so I can go to sleep at some point. Micah, you're coming up next. Micah, what's up, my friend?
Man, that was great, Kirk. To flow from a Enrique game winner to take down Caitlin Clark and then into this game to close out the Clippers. This is a great night of basketball.
Glad you liked it, man. What was tell me your favorite part?
It's always going to be Kyrie taking control of the moment, because it's to go from 2 points in the first half to 30 in the second is just bonkers. It just shows that they knew he is the guy, and it's just, I can say this as a W fan, it's almost like the Mavericks looked at their sister team and said, you know what? Dominant post play with some good playmakers kind of works.
Sure.
And that's what the Mavericks are doing now.
Yeah.
With two dominant bigs that are getting whatever they want. And it's just amazing.
Good.
I love it. Just, we're seeing a 20-year-old kid that has went through absolute travesty to being a reason that you win in the postseason. It's just amazing. I love it.
Well, good, man. Glad you had fun. Let's do this again on Tuesday night. What do you say?
Let's do it. We already showed. Hey, OKC, great season. You're not ready for this size. Sorry,
right.
It's over.
That's what she said. Okay. I gotta let you go, bud. We'll talk soon, all right? All right, love you, man.
Great night, Kirk.
Right. Mike, it sounded like he had a couple of drinks. That's why I used to, guys. I can't tell you how when I used to do the radio one, when you guys didn't have to look me in the face, I was drinking so much during those shows. That was also like COVID times too. I don't do that as much anymore as I have my empty drink here. All right, coming up next is my man Henry. Henry with your fantastic Russell Westbrook avatar. What's going on tonight?
What's going on, man? Before we get into it, let me first start off to say we are now at shout out to Brother Deacon Irvin at the NBA's First Baptist Church and getting buckets.
And he looked
absolutely getting buckets.
I know the and one over the poor decrepit corpse of PJ Washington was the shot of the game.
Oh yeah.
But I've grown to really love Kyrie driving right baseline, floating behind the backboard with that little 15-footer. Do you know which kind of shot I'm talking about?
Oh yeah. It's almost like Kobe-esque, and he practices it during his warm-up. So.
And it feels like a much more like the moment you see he's going to that spot, it's like, oh, okay, bucket.
Bucket, you just start calling after a while, like, all right, bucket. If for example, if it's that triple threat with a live dribble, jab step, pull up in your face, bucket. 3 on the break, bucket. Like eventually, you just
Did you see that hysterical? I don't know what the numbers updated to, but his effective field goal percentage in transition in games 1 through 4. Did you see what it was?
Yeah, it was something like 95%.
Yep, it's the dumbest thing I've read in this postseason. It just makes me laugh out loud because it's like he did it again tonight, where he hit a couple of transition threes, and those shots just break the math. Because you hit 1, okay, you hit 2, and it's like, Jesus, you start throwing your hands up saying we can't do anything else. It's great.
No, you generally can't. Before I'm gonna get back to Glaze and Kyrie in a second, but as we get ready to head into the new series, do you feel like this? I'm not judging off the one game after the trade deadline, but Gafford was for the first few games almost unplayable. Now we head into the OKC series. Do you feel like this is going to be a much better or bigger matchup for Gafford, or do you feel like Love is going to shine heading in OKC?
It's a great question, and I hope what we have to do is argue that who has the better game. That would be ideal for me, because if you can get 20 to 22 minutes out of each of them, that's 44 minutes of center play. And then if you want to go small with Maxey for 5 minutes, fine. I think that Gafford might have the more forceful game earlier on. Lively's a little more feeling things out, and then as he gets going, he seems to perform better. So that would be kind of my guess, but that's a fun thing to have to consider.
I'm worried about both of the Jalen Williams. The previous guy who's saying wondering who their backup center is the light-skinned guy, also Jalen Williams, that can somewhat stretch the floor and is pretty physical, but
takes a gajillion charges.
Yep.
He wasn't he the guy at Arkansas? Sounds right. He was great. They're going to piss us off because all of a sudden they're just going to have like 11 guys who do something. I mean, Cason Wallace played up the street from me here and is just a terrifyingly good basketball player.
Yep.
So
they do have Isaiah Joe, right?
Oh yes. God, I wanted him for the Mavericks back in 2020 because he was taken like 3,000 threes a game. I think also at Arkansas, weirdly enough. He's a flamethrower. The Mavericks are going to have to, this is going to sound stupid after the Clippers series because Clippers shot the ball so well. The Mavericks are going to have to defend the three better.
Oh, yeah. And as I leave here on the note, a lot of people were making excuses for Dame, saying once he gets alongside a star, yada, yada, yada. It's not easy to go from a 1A to having to adjust your star, and Kyrie's done it beautifully alongside two top 5 players when it's all said and done, and Luka and LeBron. He's never been a 1B. It's just that the two people he's had to play next to are fucking Mount Rushmore. So
well, did you hear that the Lisa Salters thing that I kind of gushed over in the first show?
When he said he made defense a priority?
Well, she gave she was a sideline reporter, but she was talking over the broadcast, and she gave and I hope somebody will send me the clip of it from the game. It was in the third. It was either in the late third or in the middle of the fourth quarter, where she gave a story that Kyrie had told her about the sort of emotional challenge of playing with somebody that is as good as you and sometimes better, and what that does to your mindset and how you have to adjust and then figure out how and when to play your best. It was just really interesting. Like, it was Luka doesn't say shit in the media because he's just one, it's his English is his 13th language. And then the other, he's just media trained. Whereas Kyrie, I really like Kyrie's verbose quotes when he's asked a semi-interesting question, he will at least take it and run with it. And that seemed to be one of those. I hope I can find the audio. If I actually do, I'll make sure I send it to you. It was a great story.
Yeah, no worries. No, it really is a mental toll to have to adjust to that. But yeah, he's playing with two Mount Rushmores when it's all said and done. But no, he's a one option that can perfectly adjust his game and maintain his efficiency, which is, again, Brunson plays the exact same style as Luka, has the exact same usage. So even if this New York Brunson was still in Dallas, you wouldn't get the same impact that he's getting right now. So
I think that's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Kai's the better fit, trust me. So the ones who still miss Brunson, salute him. He's hooping, he's balling, appreciate and admire him in New York. But even if he was in Dallas right now, you still wouldn't be getting the type of games that he's doing in New York and Dallas. So, yeah, I got us in 5 or 6. What are you seeing us in that?
I am not an optimistic Mavs fan, and I could see them just eating the Thunder alive. I cannot believe I'm saying that out loud.
Oh, yeah.
I just think if the Mavericks are allowed to play this physical, they're going to eventually wear these kids down. That's my take.
Okay, fair enough. All right,
Love
man.
it.
Next one's called up. I'll see you on the next one Tuesday.
Yes, sir. Have a good day. Okay, coming up next is Brandon. Brandon, what's up, man?
Kirk, aren't we 2-2 against the Thunder this season?
Those games are all weird. Every single one of them is weird. We had the 30-point comeback, which we then lost, the most painful. We had the game after it was either right after the trade deadline where they beat the Thunder like they stole something. Then there's the game at the very end of the year where we sat all of our players. This is one of those things where I don't think you can take anything from the regular season games.
That makes sense. Yeah, I know Dallas beat the brakes off of them, and they did the same thing to Dallas. But, there's no way to say that they have an advantage or we have an advantage. So just kind of hoping that they play well. But you know what, Kirk? I feel like Luka not playing well was an opportunity for the guys to build some type of synergy, and then also kind of to get some type of confidence in themselves. Having Kyrie lead the pack and everybody else kind of play their best as well too. So I think we always want to see Luka have a good game, but this is kind of like an implication of what Dallas can do if he doesn't have just kind of the best game.
Yep. No, it's nice because there's a mental hurdle of getting over, of knowing, there's lots of things this Mavericks team has done. They don't have to hit threes. They then don't have to, they don't necessarily need Luka to be the super 1A. Just lots of helpful things. I think this was an important game for them.
And one thing that it showed me is that Luka, even though he's ball dominant, he's not out there trying to get his. Because think about this, Kirk. Like other players, superstars may continue to force the ball and try to get their points. Luka let the game go to other guys, and it ended up working in Dallas's favor. So to me, that's the implication of unselfishness and kind of just teamwork. And it just seems like Luka is just from what I can see, is a great team member. He's selfless. He doesn't really kind of demand the ball so he can get so many stats. And when the guys are winning, he's kind of supportive.
Yep.
So. I think that was good for kind of, morale and getting the guys going. Sure. But I mean, to me, I feel like it's going to be how the bigs play against Oklahoma City. Because if they, not the point where they get bodied, but if Oklahoma City just blows by them offensively and Dallas can't defend them in the paint, I think it's a wrap. Because we've seen Harden just cook them dudes and, younger, more athletic guys, on Oklahoma City. If they can, do what Harden did, then it's going to be a problem.
Well, thank you so much for joining. All right.
Thank you, Kirk.
All right, man. Who do we got next here? We got Zach waiting out, being patient. So Zach's going to come up next. Zach, how you doing? Thanks for joining.
Hey, Kirk. Doing all right. Good win. How you feeling?
It was a good win. I'm feeling real good.
Other than tired, and I'm on the East Coast, and so.
Oh man, I'm sorry. I would have got to you earlier if I would have known that.
No, it's all good. I lived in, obviously born and raised in Dallas, and then was in the Bay Area for 7 years, and it was so great. And now I'm in my first year on the East. It's funny because
bad.
Well, the last times I've been in the East Coast for a year now, but the last time I was here for a significant period of time was May 2022. At the start of the Sun series. And so when they're playing these West Coast teams, like I'm in grad school and I got finals and everything. So it's worth it. So a couple quick hitters. I know you want to go to bed soon, but
no, it's good.
Terrence Mann, it was tied for 9th for the most wide open 3-point attempts in the playoffs. And he did at 47%, which was second among the top 10. Was just looking real quick. The Thunder in their first round series, obviously only 4 games, but they have 5 guys who are 5 guys who attempt 4 or more 3-pointers. It's Shea, Giddey, Jalen, J-Dub, Chet Holmgren, and Lou Dort. Lou and Giddey both 50% or higher. Chet's at 30%. J-Dub's 39%. And SGA's 29.5%. So obviously small sample size, but just like to level set. I heard you talking about 3-point shooting. I'm going to be real interested to see how that goes. I don't know. I assume you've been on the stream the whole time. You haven't been on Twitter. So I don't know if you saw, but on SportsCenter, Dave McMenamin, they were interviewing him, and he said among the top 3 for the Lakers coaching search is JJ Redick, Ty Lue, and Jason Kidd. So I thought that was classic.
Sure. No, I mean his name's going to be in there. LeBron James probably put that out there. I mean,
if I remember correct, I think even when we had Rick, they were talking about they wanted Rick back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay,
but I wouldn't want to go to that team to say there's just kind
of want you to talk me off a ledge here because
let's hear it.
And in all my group texts, I was obviously happy we won, but the Maxey injury really concerns me. If it's not,
came out, the chat has said he's given post-game quotes to the extent that he says he's okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I saw kids saying he doesn't know. Okay, but
I mean, you got 3 days. Like you wake up tomorrow, maybe he's going to feel like he slept on his shoulder.
I was going down the rabbit hole. Shoulder sprains, like the minimum time frame you see is a week. But hopefully, if we are shorthanded with him, that would be a bummer. So you're not too concerned about that. Like, let's say he does miss a few games. How
that's going to be a problem. It is.
It will be, right? Like,
yeah. I don't think it's like. But if you know in advance, then you adjust around it. It's the end game stuff that's really hard to deal with.
Yeah, sure. I really like the versatility he adds. He's not a supreme stretch big, but he's a very good stretch big, especially in the playoffs.
He's been great so far.
And his highs with the role he plays is so valuable. No, he doesn't hit it regularly, but in game 5, he was crucial for that. I'm wondering how you're thinking we're going to defend SGA in this series. It seems like with Harden, we kind of let him go a little hero ball and he faded himself. Obviously, SGA is not going to do that. What are your initial thoughts on how Kidd is going to scheme on this?
My early thought is they're just going to have to preach to stay down, stay down, stay down. And if he kills you on mid-range pull-ups, then you just have to live with it. He is such an effective foul drawer from like 10 to 12 feet where he just gets guys off their feet, and he's so long and he's crafty, and they have just the right kind of players around him. It's going to be a challenge. He doesn't shoot the three that much. I think that's an evolution for him next year. Like if he shot like 7 times a game, then maybe we'd have something else to be worried about. But like you said, he just doesn't shoot that many. It's going to be hard. The Mavericks have different guys to look at him. My first guess would that they put Derek Jones Jr. over Washington him, because just because Jones is really talented at not getting off his feet, you know?
Yeah, and I just think that length, obviously SGA is a tougher guard than PG, but like his length, Derek's length is, I think it's going to bother anybody. What else? Yeah, Lucas threes is I know we've talked about this. Tim Legor on the All NBA podcast the other day. I was listening to it.
Heard that. Yeah.
Did you hear where he was like, it looks like Luka got his shot back, and we'll see if it carries over into game 6. But I'm just sitting here thinking, like, he's so impactful. I'm like, if he can even be shooting like 35, he was shooting 39% this season. If he can shoot 35%, Kirk, but he's shooting 15 to 18% worse than his season average. He is 16 of 67 for the playoffs. I don't know what the math is on that. Give me a second. It's like
yeah, he is shooting 24% from 3. Like that is 14% worse than his season average.
That is Russell Westbrook numbers. Yeah. Like that is on that volume. And you trust the guy. I saw his post-game press conference where he said, his knee's really not going to be better until after the playoffs. I feel like he's done better finishing in the post the last couple games. But my theory is, the knee, it's clear he can play on it, but there is something there that's bothering him on his lift a little bit on his 3-pointers. And then I think we see it right at the rim. A lot of his and ones are just, he's not converting the and ones the way at least I remember seeing in the regular season. And the majority he's missing, he's like hitting the front iron, or he's like, it's not like it's almost in and out. They are just off, or they are short. And I think
he's got to have a limit for himself, where it's like, if he's going to take 4 in the first half, and if he doesn't hit them, then we just got to, they can't have these 1 for 10 stuff. They're wasted possessions. They're so bad.
Well, and especially the way he's missing them, Kirk, it's just, it'll clang, and then they're out and running. And I know we're a fast team, but that's, all in all, like, great night. I'm really concerned about Max. I hope he can play. But yeah, I just want to, like, do you have any other thoughts you haven't gotten
Thunder? I've not really gotten enough yet. I'm going to have to think about them for a few days. We'll see.
Cool. Are you going to do another one of these like before game 1 or?
I will do at least one other show before game 1. I don't know if it's going to be me and Josh. There's an Oklahoma City guy I'd like to talk to, but I'll do something. So don't worry about that.
Sweet. Okay. Well, thanks, Kirk. Really
sure, man. Thanks for hanging out. Talk soon.
Bye.
All right. We've got 2 more folks. Matthew and then Michael. Matthew, what's up, man?
Hey, Kirk. How you doing?
I'm great. Welcome to the show. What are you thinking tonight?
Hey, man. Look, I came on after game 4 and said Mavs in 5, Mavs in 6, close enough.
I'll take it.
But look, we legitimately have a difference-making defense.
Yeah.
And then surrounded by 2 difference-making playmakers, shot makers, in Luka and Kyrie, we can make a legit run. And
I think so.
Look, I don't know how you feel about the OKC series. I know it's looking too far ahead. We just clinched this series. Fuck LA, by the way. But I feel like we can make an actual run with a roster like this. And I still feel like we can even make improvements. This series, we really didn't shoot the 3 well, and we haven't since the trade. But I still feel like there could be a series where we could shoot the 3 well. I won't lie. I'm a little concerned with OKC and how they are like a 5-out, 3
Yeah, we ought to
shooting
be.
team.
They're number one for a reason.
And with Maxey's injury, like that is especially concerning because he is probably our best like big who can go out to the 3-point line. But still, I feel like we can really make a legit run.
I hope so. I would like that, even though thinking ahead, like I just saw that game 1 is on Tuesday at 8:30 p.m. and I'm like pre-tired. I'm looking forward to it though.
Yo, I live on the East Coast, and so I'm already pretty tired.
I don't know how I did it. I lived from Washington D.C. From 2006 to 2021, and I started covering the Mavs in 2012, and so I don't know how I did this for 9 years. Like it's awful to be this late. I'm sorry, but thank you so much for hanging out.
Hey, of course. Look, I'll just leave you with this. We won this series with size, athleticism, and shit that we just haven't seen from the Mavs before. And that's our advantage in next series. Let's see how we do.
Yep.
Fuck LA. Let's go Mavs.
Love it, man. Talk soon. Thanks for hanging out.
Hey, of course.
All right. Michael's going to be last, and then I'm going to have to stay up for another hour and edit all this stuff. Michael, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, Kirk? Can you hear me?
I am great. Thanks so much for joining us, and you sound good.
Oh, great. Thank you. I've got 3 things. Number one, I don't know if people remember after we lost game 4. Do people remember that Ty Lue said he has a blueprint to beat Dallas? Do you remember that?
I love that. Great quote.
And then, of course, yeah. Second thing is it's kind of funny, but I'm kind of an aficionado of the 2011 season and the playoff series. And if you remember, they had to play Portland. And Portland played them really, really tough because they were up 2-0, and then they lost the game 4 in Portland, which was idiotic.
I mean, one of the worst, most painful losses of my life. It's awful.
Exactly. And then they tied it. And then it took Dirk just a tremendous game 5 to win at home. And then they closed them out on the road in game 6.
Yep.
And I kind of, just looking at this took 6 games. And although it appeared to be, I tell you, the Clippers, man, they were junking it up, man. They were just, I know that the Mavericks were real physical, but the Clippers were just not giving in. I mean, except for the last game, they got blown out, but these were not easy games at all. Okay.
Absolutely right.
So what I'm saying is that if you remember in 2011, then they played the Lakers, who were the defending champions. They swept them, and then they go
great series though.
OKC.
That was a great series.
Great.
Like the Mavericks really only kicked the shit out of them in the Mother's Day Massacre. The other 3 games were remarkably tight.
Yeah, the first 2 games were incredible for them because nobody thought they were going to win in LA, and they win both games in LA. So what I'm saying is that, and then of course they play OKC, and they beat OKC in 5 games to go on to the finals. So if they beat OKC here, and then they face Denver being the defending champion, it could be kind of reversed. I don't know. I'm just kind of thinking in that kind of logic where possibly if they can beat OKC, which hopefully they can, and then I think Denver is going to. I mean, it's going to be a tough series, but I think Denver will beat Minnesota. It could be Dallas and Denver, which I don't think is a bad matchup. I think Dallas has a pretty decent matchup with Denver.
Looking that far ahead is tough for me because it's such a grind to get there. Both those teams frighten me at the moment, but I also think it's like Godzilla versus Kong, where it's just like those 2 teams are running into each other,
Right. And the third thing I have is that I kind of wonder. I know that Luka has always killed the Clippers, but he never beat the Clippers in the playoffs. He lost. So I wonder if there was some kind of mental thing with him again, and then also against that Terrence Mann.
Terrence Mann is Terrence. He doesn't like Terrence Mann, and
he hates him. Now I don't know if he feels the same with Lou Dort. Lou Dort plays him real physically, but I wonder if this is going to be a breakout series for him because now he's got Clippers out of the way. there's some kind of mental thing, because if you think about it, he goes back to when he was with Carlisle and when he was with Porzingis, and the first year and then the second year when they're up 2-0 and then they lose 7 games. So all those mental things. I wonder now, with that behind him, now playing OKC, he can be Luka, and I wonder if he's going to have a breakout series.
Would love it.
OKC now.
Would absolutely love it. That would make me and everybody else extremely happy.
That'd be awesome.
So, hey, thanks for ending the show, Michael.
Thank you, buddy.
All right, talk soon. All right, guys, this show will be up live on the podcast stream Saturday. I don't know when Josh and I will record again or what's going to happen next, but I'm really grateful that we get a chance to keep doing this. It's a lot of fun. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Those of you who are watching the show later, please go ahead and leave comments and all that stuff on the main video. Consider subscribing to the show. We're almost at 3,000. Everybody be good, and we'll talk to you guys later in the week. Go Mavs.
When you make decisions for your company, you always look for the no-brainers. And if you have a lot of mailing and shipping to do, Stamps.com is the ultimate no-brainer. It streamlines your process to make your business more efficient, which makes you less busy. Mail checks, invoices, legal documents, books, and everything you need to keep your business running with Stamps.com. Seamlessly connect with every major marketplace and shopping cart if you sell online. Schedule package pickups through the dashboard and automatically see your cheapest and fastest shipping options from different carriers, with rates up to 89% off USPS and UPS rates. And with the Stamps.com mobile app, you can take care of mailing and shipping wherever you are, even on the go. Make the same no-brainer decision as over 1 million other business decision makers with Stamps.com. Sign up at Stamps.com with code PROGRAM for a special offer that includes a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a free digital scale. No long-term commitments or contracts. That's Stamps.com, code PROGRAM.